the reason I wrote you is we're getting all kinds of buildup and white stuff on all of our fixtures and things like that.
Okay.
If you'll take a look in here in the shower, you can see it best here. There's all this stuff and it affects the way the water flows.
Yeah, I've seen that. Oh boy. So I got to ask you, when you use soap, is it hard to get lather?
Yes, hard to get shampoo suds, and our skin seems to be really dry.
Well, you have the classic signs of hard water. I don't know if you realize it, but the water you get comes from the Colorado River. That Colorado River has been carving its way, creating the Grand Canyon for all these years, and water is a universal solvent. It's going to pick up minerals, calcium, magnesium, and it carries it in the water and it shows up inside your house here.
Okay.
And most of your neighbors have some sort of water softener, some sort of tank to make the water softer.
Yeah, I think I have something like that in the garage.
You have a softener?
I think so.
All right, let's see what you got.
So here's the tank I was telling you about.
Okay, so that is not a conventional water softener. Water softeners generally have two tanks. In the main tank, it has these resin beads that have been charged. And when they're charged, they actually start to attract the magnesium, the calcium, really the scale that you see inside the house. Over time, it starts to collect it, and then you back flush that stuff to the drain. Then you have to recharge it again. So in that second tank, it's filled with brine. That's sodium, salt. So now you as a homeowner have to fill that tank with 25, 30 pounds of salt every 30 days, okay, and then it recharges it again. Now this one, single tank, is actually different. It's a filter, first of all. Water goes down to the bottom, comes up through multiple stages of filtration, and then at the top it's got those resin beads again, but these resin beads will actually last for 5 years, not 30 days. Now, what happens is at the end of 5 years, you got to take this thing, recharge it back at the factory, rebuild it, okay? So it looks like the previous owner, you've been here 3 years, you haven't used it. Looks like the previous owner didn't want to recharge it, so it's been unplugged. So we could, at the least case, we could take this out, send it back to be recharged and rebuilt, but I'd like to talk to you about it as an alternative to this thing.
That sounds great.
All right, so here is a whole house water conditioner. It has two chambers, one's a filter, one's the conditioner. Now in the first chamber, water starts by passing through a cartridge like this. Water passes through this mesh, and inside of it is this, granulated activated carbon. Now granulated activated carbon's been used forever to really clean up taste and odor in water. So it'll pass through and leave here, and at that point we've sweetened the water for taste, but we haven't done anything about the magnesium and the calcium. So then it would leave and come into this chamber right here. So in the conditioner there's a second cartridge. Now this cartridge is actually PVC, and you can see there's small holes right here. Water passes into here and can only go in through these small holes and then work its way slowly through here, and it's going to pick up something called citric acid. Now citric acid you've actually seen before, you've actually tasted before in your life. Take a taste of that.
I'm going to eat this?
You are, right now.
Wow, that is sour.
Okay.
Tastes like my kid's candy.
Absolutely. So this is actually a food grade material that's used in kids candy and in many different uses in the food industry. But what it gives water is very unique characteristic. Unlike the resin that attracts the magnesium and the calcium and then you have to discharge it to a drain, what citric acid does is it encapsulates the magnesium and the calcium and keeps it in the water solution moving through and doesn't let it bond onto the pipes.
And it's safe to drink?
Absolutely. Magnesium and calcium is only a cosmetic issue in the house like this. There's no issue with anybody drinking it.
Is it going to make my water taste like my kid's candy?
No. I mean, just like the brine solution did not make the water taste salty, this isn't going to make you taste like lemonade or lemons, okay? So this is new technology to me, but I don't know if you're up for it. I think might want to give it a try.
Hey, it sounds like a better solution than that thing.
All right. Yeah, that one's not working. All right, we have the refrigerator out of the way. Now I'm just going to shut off the lines going into the old conditioner and then open the bypass. That'll mean the house will still have water. And we're just going to break these union connections. All right, Steve, let's muscle this thing out of here. To mount the system, I'll screw these mounting brackets to the filters. Then I'll attach them to a piece of scrap wood that I screwed into the studs. Now, we can measure and cut all the copper piping to connect the water line to the filter. We clean and flux each connection, and then solder all those connections together, making sure that the main line goes into the filter first and then out of the conditioner and back to the house. All right, solder connections are made up. Now we're going to put together our cartridges. This is our granulated activated carbon filter. Water direction comes this way. Direction of arrow is this way. And then we just put our cartridge on. Okay, snug that up. Just grab the wrench. Okay, just snug it up. Okay, that's one. I'll give you that. Now our conditioner cartridge, this way. All right, send the water out to the house. Now, the care and feeding of this thing is pretty straightforward. Depending on how much water goes through and how bad the water is, you're gonna have to change both of these cartridges every 6 months approximately. That's simple. To close off these valves, hit the buttons right here to relieve the pressure, and then that wrench will loosen it, and then you just reverse it. They also tell me that within 30 days, this citric acid will actually clean all the scale off of the shower heads in your house.
What?
Send me an email. I want to see this.
I'll do it. Thanks for coming to Arizona, Richard.
It was my pleasure. It was great to see the Grand Canyon finally. I'm glad it's not showing up on your fixtures anymore. Be good.
So new technology, what do you think?
Well, we'll see. I'm excited about the prospects of it, you know. Most people that have hard water have a softener like this.
Right.
And that requires salt, you know, to go inside of this tank. You use the salt to charge these resin beads right here. And these sit inside this tank. Now these resin beads become attractant to lime and calcium. And over time you have to flush it. But there's a trend now in places like Phoenix where they don't want to see these anymore.
Why is that?
Well, it's the impact of this salt that's now been absorbed into the water showing up at the sewage treatment plant. It's more expensive to treat it, to clean it up again.
How much salt are we talking?
Well, this is a 40-pound bag. You might go through this once every month.
Wow, times every house in town.
That's right.
It's all going to accumulate back at the treatment
With our
facility.
citric acid one, this is 6 months versus 1 month, and this has much less impact at the sewage treatment plant.
Okay, and how about Steve? Have you heard from him?
Yeah, he said it was much improved. It's been a little more than 30 days. It's not completely clean, but it's on its way.
Oh, that's good news. All right, good information.
All right.